my favorite people here, and I'm so excited for today because I get to talk to some of my favorite friends. And most of you probably know who at least a few of them are, if not everybody, but I'm going to have them introduce themselves. But before we do, I want to tell you today's conversation is for people helpers. And you're like, what's a people helper? A people helper is somebody that is serving women who are walking through domestic abuse. It could be an advocate, support group leader, ministry leader, counselor, whatever it is that whatever avenue you're using to serve women who are impacted by abuse. We invite you to join in today because we're going to be talking about why you need to be at this retreat, because this retreat is for you too. We have a lot of ways there that we will encourage you. And today they're going to share things that just really may uplift you as a people helper, because it's hard pouring out continuously. And they're going to tell you ways that they have found help to be able to pour back into themselves. So I'm excited to learn from them, and let's go ahead and introduce them. We'll start with Naomi.
Hi, my name is Naomi, and I'm an advocate and intake coordinator for Call to Peace Ministries. So I'm in charge of all the people that are coming in looking for advocacy services.
Hi, my name is Dana, and I am the Call to Peace support group coordinator and an advocate. So my main role as a coordinator is to assist women who are seeking community in support groups and also training leaders to lead those groups.
Hi, I'm Brooke. I am an advocate and one of the advocate coordinators along with Portia. And my role here is to support survivors and also support our volunteers who are also supporting survivors.
Hello, my name is Portia Green. I'm an advocate and advocate coordinator here at Call to Peace Ministries, and my role is to support survivors and support the advocates as they support survivors along with other people helpers.
Wonderful. We are so grateful for these people here, and each of them have so much wisdom and expertise, and I'm looking forward to getting in today's conversation. But before we do, I want to remind everybody that we are in a campaign, and that means we are trying to raise $40,000 to scholarship 100 women to the He Makes All Things New Women's Retreat. And right now we have raised 22,000, so we're getting close to our goal. So we have a $15,000 matching grant. So if everybody helps us and continue to meet that matching grant, we will probably hit our goal very soon. So thank you to everybody who's donated, and let's begin the conversation. So the first the question is, what are the biggest challenges you face as a people helper? Who wants to go first? Just raise your hand.
So Portia and I both do people helping all day. That's kind of our bread and butter. And I think probably my biggest challenge is remembering to take care of me. So I am go, help everybody else. And then I get to the end of the day and I'm like, why am I tired? Why? Oh, so that's probably my biggest challenge.
I think one of my challenges is just that I work from home, and we all work from home. So we're not together. Like, it's wonderful to be together now today, but we're not together and constantly talking. So it can get really isolating, and it's important to have a real sense of community, and it can be difficult when you don't feel that.
I think one of my challenges as a people helper is just reminding myself that I too am a person. I have limitations, and as much as I love doing this, if I could do this 24 hours a day, I could, but I can't. So how many starfish can I save at one time? In whatever capacity I can, whoever I can touch, I can touch. And then also letting God take care of the rest until the next person can come along and do that next step.
I think that my biggest challenge would probably be, this is a hard one for me to identify, because I feel like I think I can probably be along with Brooke, is sometimes working in isolation. It's just like I need to connect. Like need to connect with people so I can recenter myself and to kind of like replant myself in the position of what I need to be doing at this moment. Like, because I think the connection brings out more into me. I'm a people person, so I need to connect. And I think that's probably the challenge, the most challenging part. I need to connect more often.
Yes, I am echoing all that, as I'm sure all of y'all are listening in. Like, oh, I feel all of that so deeply. And I have to apologize. I made an error. I started stumbling and realized like I couldn't remember. I said $40,000. Our campaign goal is $45,000. So I apologize to everybody who's listening. So I just wanted to correct that. Our campaign goal is $45,000, and we have raised $22,000 of that goal, and we have a $15,000 matching grant. Thank you so much for your understanding. Apologize. So let's move on to our next question. And that is, please share how you find renewal each day for strength and zeal to continue to serve her. Raise your hand.
I think, well, I know the thing that I probably do the most is prayer. Pray before sessions, after sessions, like in my spare time. And like, because a lot of times when I'm going in to have conversations with advocates, when I'm having conversations with survivors, like I honestly cannot operate in my own might. Like I have to seek God and ask him like, okay, what is it you want me to tell this person? What is it that I need to share with them? Because domestic violence is so counterintuitive. It's something you just can't operate in. You can't just serve someone in your own might. You have to have wisdom. You have to have knowledge. And so I try to make that a constant practice, asking God, okay, you be in the midst of all this, what's going on, because I'm not smart enough. I'm smart, but I'm not smart enough to have all the great answers. So I need God. That's my common practice. And it grounds me as well.
I agree. I think one of the biggest things that I have to do is to set aside time with the Lord. I'm actually blocking that in my calendar, penciling it in, like having my God time, and I'm trying to be more committed to that. And like what Portia was saying, praying before the meeting, praying after the meeting, praying during support groups, praying before support groups and after support groups, and for all the leaders and the attendees. So it's a lot of prayer involved. But that renews me because I find that there's so many blessings that can be reaped in prayer, that it's a continuous cycle that comes back around. So that's what keeps me renewed and energized. And also to sit with the Lord and say, show me what I did not do well this time, so I can be better next time with the next conversation I have. God, show me the words. Holy Spirit, activate, like that chant goes, right? Give me the kind thing that I need to say, but the firm thing I might need to say, because there can be some difficult conversations that have to happen. So I want to be gracious and Lord-led in all those aspects. So that's what I have to do to renew myself, really having that God time.
I think one thing for me is seeing the outcome, because I talked to so many women and then getting the response from them, like, this really made a difference. I had a call this morning and we prayed together and she said, I just can't thank you just for talking to me on the phone today. It really meant so much. All I did was talk to you on the phone today. It wasn't that much to me, but it meant the world to her. And I get to repeat that. And so when I'm having a day that's just really difficult, I go back and I remember all the lives that I've touched so far and the difference that it's making, and that encourages me to keep going.
Well, I am always looking for ways to keep myself encouraged and renewed, because this is a continual process of growth for me. So like right now I'm playing with slime. This is my newest obsession. All of my staff know exactly why my body's moving the way it is right now. And some of what I have been learning about myself is to value that I am not, like what Dana said, I can't do this 24 hours a day. And so there is a part of this work where I need to pay attention to what I need. So having slime is something, or any kind of fidget toy is something that a few years ago I might have been like, oh, that's extra, I don't need that. And now to listen to my body and say, actually, I need something to get off some of that anxious energy. So I'm going to do that. That has been helpful. I would say another practice that I do pretty regularly is listening to encouraging podcasts and teachers. So that's part of why I'm super excited to come to the retreat, because some of my very favorite teachers are going to be there. Beth Broom, I went to one of her trainings yesterday. She's amazing. Elise Fitzpatrick, I cannot wait for her new book to come out. I am so excited to see Darby Strickland and hear more of her teachings. These are especially women that I am constantly looking for where they're doing podcasts and that kind of listening to their books, because that is another way that I just can have the spirit of the Lord be pouring into me, and that fellowship piece, because like Naomi said, we are doing this sort of independently in some ways. And so it's another way to like join with the heavenly hosts and army to, keep encouraging and equipping us. So
Thank you for sharing all that. That was really encouraging. I love, Dana, that you're penciling in your Bible time. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Just block it and be like, that's it. Nothing's going on there. It's my time with Jesus uninterrupted. I love that so much. And prayer, I love how you mentioned all that. And the fidgeting, I understand that too, Brooke. So I do things too. And I really am very excited about this retreat and hearing the speakers, as Brooke mentioned, because they really do, for me and my work, I think the highlight for me is always the interviews, because getting to talk to these women and be encouraged by them and hear the truths they have to share just keep me going and keep me encouraged. And so you get to hear them at length at the retreat, and it's going to be so amazing. Just something about being around them and having a conversation with them is very calming and regulating to my system. I just feel like my body just knows they're safe people, and I just feel like such an energy and safeness and calmness, and that really is restorative. So let's get on to our next question. And so our next question is, how have you found the retreat encouraging to you as a people helper?
It's been I came to Call to Peace Ministries in 2021, and like I came in April, and the retreat was like the biggest thing that I experienced in my first month. And so it being a people helper and a person who loves people, being around other people, seeing the women that I've helped, making the connections with other people helpers that I've supported, being able to touch, hug, love on, have good conversation, something to me. It can be a lot. It's a joy to experience, because now you get to take in action a little bit. So hopefully y'all can still hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was muted. I can hear you. We just had a brief pause in the video.
Okay.
You're good.
So yes, so that time was just amazing for me.
Thank you.
I think one of my favorite things about the retreat, I'm a people person too until I'm peopled out. And I'll explain that in a second, because sometimes large groups and large rooms are a little overwhelming to me. I'm actually an introvert. So when I feel emotions, I really feel it. So sometimes I'll take a break and I go into the hallway, and then somebody will bump into me, and I'll just have those God moments with some complete dear soul that was a stranger to me, never knew them. And we can have a really deep conversation. And it's so precious. It's like a heart hug from heaven. So I love that. That's energizing to me, because I need that sometimes, just to, in the solitude, but to still be reminded that I'm not alone, just, taking a break in the hallway, or just to go grab a quick cup of tea or something, that there is someone else that is too probably feeling that, and I can gravitate to that. So God kind of brings us together. But also, I'm a lifelong learner. So I love learning the different topics that are discussed, the breakout sessions, the leaders, the worship music. It's just so many things that you can choose to do. But I find that a lot of that feeds my soul. and it feeds my my head knowledge that I want to just like soak it all in, sponge it all up, so that I can really use that and be better at what I'm doing in my role. I've never declared that I'm an expert in anything, but I do love to learn, and I will give it a good try and figure it out along the way. So that's something that's inspiring to me about the retreat.
I think one of the biggest things for me is the worship. I love music. My last name is Jubilee for a reason. And we have the regular worship. And I know sometimes in church, I don't know if anybody else has felt like, oh, I'm the only single divorced mom that lived through abuse in this congregation. And you don't fit into any good category, and it can be really isolating. But at the retreat, you're there with your tribe, and you know that everybody understands and is worshiping in a similar fashion, coming from a similar background. And it's just beautiful. And we have the regular worship sessions, and then we have the Tasha Layton concert. I'm so excited. And then we have the piano concert in the hall that just kind of happened after the worship is over until midnight. Sometimes we'll be singing in the hallway, and it's just a gorgeous time because you meet all these people that you didn't know could sing.
I will say, I think I live out in Washington State. I'm away from my people. I don't get to see them very often. And honestly, just being in person and with the people, please come up to me if you're coming and give me a hug, because I love hugs and I want to hug you. So that's part of it for me that is just so encouraging. And then also, because this work is isolating, because just even the nature of this work can be isolating, that we have the tools and the discernment to see what other people sometimes can't. That can be something where, you see that this person has some problematic controlling tendencies, and everyone around you is like, that's weird. And but when you get to the retreat, we're together. And so kind of like what Naomi was saying, like, you don't fit into these categories, but now you do. And then especially as people helpers, we can learn from each other. I like that Dana said we're not experts. I don't think I'm an expert, but I have some wisdom from my personal experiences, and the other people helpers have wisdom from their experiences. And then we get into these people helper breakout sessions and trainings, and we collectively, just get better. And I love that for us. And we create connections and people with people, and we are able to, build in for ourselves more support in the coming year. That to me is just precious. So.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. This is getting me so excited for the retreat. I can't wait. And I feel like for me too, it's iron sharpens iron. And so just being able to hear on other people, like just Brooke and somebody, you're saying this work is isolating. And sometimes people may think you're a little odd, or wow, that's the girl that thinks everybody's abusive, or whatever it is. Or as one of the girls is sitting here, she was called the abuse lady once by people. So, it's just nice that Naomi, she called herself out. Anyway, it's just nice for other people to be sharpened with iron and be like, wow, I'm not alone. I come back with new fire in my feet. I'm just excited and ready to help women and get in the trenches and be like, you know what, you can think I'm weird, but I know I'm doing what God's called me to do. So it's all good. And I am just excited to meet all y'all there too. And Brooke is a big hugger. She loves hugs. Or which one of y'all, Portia, you love hugs too, and Naomi. So, and Dana, they all love hugs. So they're ready to embrace you and love on you. And I think that's so important for women coming out of abuse. So many women, it sounds strange, but I think it's important to say, is like, you don't get physically touched. Like, you don't have a partner, and maybe your kids are older and they're kind of like away, and you just feel lonely. And we need physical touch to survive. So you can come to the retreat and get some big hugs and feel love. And I've seen women just embrace and cry like with strangers, almost because the hug was just so healing and they didn't realize that was what they needed. And so find these people and hug on them. I am a hugger too. Not a big hugger, but I am a hugger. We had buttons last year. So I am like warm hugs or whatever it is. I can't remember which one it was. But anyway.
We have buttons again this year.
Oh, okay, good. There was buttons. Some people do not are cautious more around touch, and we definitely respect that. So you can get buttons to say no hugs, please, or you can be like, oh, I like uh, small hugs. So
You're a
yeah,
hug dealer.
a hug
Yeah.
dealer. That was all y'all. Okay, thank you for reminding me of the buttons. So yes, well, I'm excited now. I'm like energized. I'm like, I can't wait. It's coming up so soon. So let's get to our last question. And that is, why do you believe it is important for an advocate, support group leader, counselor to attend this retreat? And what do you hope that person will walk away with to be better able to and equipped to serve her, the one, we mean her, women impacted by abuse? So who wants to go first?
I think you guys probably aren't going to be super surprised that I think this is a really helpful retreat, given what I've already said, for people helpers. There are trainings that are targeted towards people helpers. A lot of the women and other teachers who are coming to the training or to the retreat are long time advocates. Darby Strickland has been doing this a really long time. Beth Broom has been doing this a really long time. They have a lot of experience and wisdom. And coming and hearing from them is just so, as advocates, it's just helpful. It's good to know you're not alone, but it's also just that piece. They're going to cover things that, you teachings that are going to be wonderful. I'm thinking about, Elise's new book is on Beloved, and just pouring into ourselves again as people helpers, pouring into ourselves in that space, reminding ourselves who Jesus thinks we are, helps us to operate in ways that are in our design from God, and also encourages the women that we're working with to do the same. The better, as we get healthier, so do they. So I just think it's such a great time to just take advantage of all of this wonderful teaching and wisdom and experience. So
Yeah, I want to echo what Brooke said about there being a lot of other people helpers that are going to come, because it's a great place to network. You go, and instead of working in isolation, you find your tribe and you get your community built up, and this advocate has this resource and this people helper teacher has this resource, and you just get resourced up and friended up and hug a lot of people. I mean, it's just a fantastic time. I can't say that enough.
I think it's important for people helpers to be here because I think we say this often, is that you become more aware of what domestic abuse looks like. And so once you see, you can't unsee. And so you get around people who see, and you get questions answered. There's times where, like, we were after a session and someone had a question, and there could be a speaker standing right there who can answer your question about a situation. And so it's like a free for all to get all that you need to get equipped for whatever you're working with. And as a people helper, you encounter so many people, and you want to be able to see what you need to see in order to identify abuse. And so it's like an overflow of information and time spent with professionals, or people who are part of Call to Peace or connected to Call to Peace, to get what you need. And so it's just a really great time. It's an important time for, and then you also see that there's other women out here. There's a vast amount of women who are being served, and they, rely on the work that we do here at Call to Peace to, help them with their situation. So it just becomes a bigger picture moment when you're at the retreat, and it's really good for you. That's all.
Yeah, when you ladies were talking, I was thinking about, as people helpers, we are out here building community with different people. I'll say that especially for support groups, it is definitely a community, a small group community that is built. And then also it just spreads out globally. But one thing I find, that as people helpers, we forget about ourselves. We forget that we as leaders need our community too. If you notice in some schools that teachers have teacher lounges so that they can get together, they have teacher workshops so they can get together and discuss the things that are happening out there, be updated on the new knowledge, the new technology, the new information that's to be passed along, and the new ways of doing things. So people helpers at the retreat, this is an opportunity for you to get the same thing, that you can be nourished and you can be refreshed and revived. You can be informed and you can feel like you have your community, your tribe too, outside of the groups that you are building community for and with. So this is a good building opportunity, a good bonding opportunity. And I say every person and every time that I have gone to a retreat, it is such a precious time. I can't say that enough. I love these women on the screen. I love these women that I come in contact with and just stay in touch with. It is just, y'all are my heart. And this is heart work. Some say it's hard work. Ministry is hard work, but I say it's heart work because it really takes your heart to do it. So why not keep our hearts bound and bandaged together so that we can make sure we can keep soldiering and sojourning on?
Wow, that was a powerful thought to end with. That was really good. It's hard work. I love that so much. And thank you so much for what each of you shared. And I hope if you're a people helper, you will attend this retreat. And I hope if you're a survivor watching this and hope maybe one day to be a people helper, you're encouraged by this, just in general, knowing we all face battles and being able to know how they get grounded into God's word, even when things are challenging and tough. So thank you so much for tuned in. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. I see one person asked if this is online. We will have post-retreat access like we normally do, but it is not live streamed. So you can get the sessions afterwards, the main sessions. I'm not sure if and how many of the breakout sessions will be offered, but I do know the main sessions will be in post-retreat access. So you'll have to stay tuned, and we'll talk more about that as we get closer to the retreat date and have more information. And once again, we're in a scholarship campaign, and that goal is to raise $45,000, and we're $22,764 is what we've raised thus far, and we have a $15,000 matching grant. So every dollar you give will be matched up to $15,000. Excuse me. Every dollar for dollar will be matched up to $15,000. I apologize with my words today. And so I invite you to be part of that. If you can't go, or if you can go too, and you want to send another woman there who cannot go due to financial restraints, but is given a scholarship so she can be there, invite you to partner with us in that. And thank you so much. And we hope to see you there and to be able to connect with you and hear your story and just encourage you. So thank you for joining in, and we will talk to you again soon.